Welcome back to the channel, everybody, on this beautiful, well, it's pretty overcast, pretty gray out Saturday, but anyway, I got up early this morning. I thought that I would go out to the woods because I want to talk to you. Well, actually talk to you about it, but I want to make something and show you something I have that I use, something we all use quite often, but we don't necessarily think about it or we need to use them, and that are walking sticks. Okay, so according to Daniel Beard, a walking stick like the one you see here. This is my Boy Scouts of America walking stick, the one that I made many years ago, probably about, I don't know, 12, 13 years ago. And what they should be, they should come to nose height. Okay, a lot of people make them too short, and they should come to nose height. So right here is nose height. And what I want to do today is bring out, and we're going to look for a nice tree that we can take. Now, what I do and don't do is that when I'm looking for a tree, I'm definitely not looking for a spruce or a pine or something like that. And there are lots around here that are right size and stuff. But the problem with those is they're much more difficult to clean off all the leaves. They have a lot more knots in them, and it's a soft wood. They break quite simply. And the biggest problem is it's so messy because of sap in them, that kind of stuff. So that way you don't have all that all over your hands. I mean, the one that I have here, that's mine, it's really, I mean, it's a hardwood. It served me so well, and I didn't just choose one out of the woods. What I did is I went around. I spent a lot of time looking around, and I was looking for a growth of trees, actually. And this is what I found here, right here behind me, a growth of trees right here. Now look, you have three different sizes here. You have a larger size right here, a medium, and the smaller in the back, and then you have another smaller behind that, actually. I'm gonna take the third size here, the smaller one from the back there. The reason why I'm gonna take that, because I like to have it around, around the size of my fingers closed. You know, for me that works better. This right here is a little bit too big, which means it's gonna be also a bit heavier. And this right here is a good size right here. It's about the size of what I have, maybe a little bit larger, and quite straight. I don't mind if they have a little bit of crook in them either, but we're gonna take that one out. And then we're going to get it down to a decent size, and then we're gonna work on it a little bit later. Okay, so listen, I'm gonna cut this down, and I'll be right back with you. So I've taken out my little hand saw that I brought with me, and we're gonna get back here and see if we can't cut this thing. I'm not gonna cut it all the way at the base. And one thing that's good about these old growths that you see, there's this growth of trees there, they'll regrow back pretty quickly. And you have several of them here, so it won't affect it too much. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it off about right here. This will be pretty quick. There we go. And see if we can't get it out of here. So we're gonna push it out to the outside, and then let me get my saw back together and be right back with you in just a second. I'm back with you. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to cut this up at a little bit longer than what we need, and then we're going to work with it. I think that this is it right here. I'm going to have to take off these branches here, which I'll get my knife out afterwards and do that. Primary thing right now is to cut it down to what I will need, so I'll stand it up here, and I'll cut it a little bit longer than I need. So that's going to be the first cut. To saw it down some more here. Let's get with it here. So pretty much it's at a length that I can work with now. Get some of these bigger branches off of it. Not that very many of them, but it's enough of them to sort of get in the way here a little bit. Yeah, wait, one more here. Okay, so it's at a lot longer than what I needed here. It's a lot longer than what I needed here, but it's going to work the way it is. So anyway, I do apologize for me not necessarily being in the lens so much. I've had to attach this thing up against a tree. My Gorilla Grips here for the camera, and it tends to want to lean a little bit forward. But anyway, you got the idea. Oh, it's got a rot here. No, it's not too bad actually. It's just a bit of a hole here, but we're gonna make it work. All right, then I'll get right back with you in a minute. So, finally found a spot. It's not a bad spot. It's a place I've actually camped at before. Some years ago with a buddy of mine named Chris. We came out here, and this is a nice little location right here. And we scouted it out. It was pretty flat here, and it's quite hidden here. I mean, you can't really, you don't penetrate in the summertime into the forest that much. But anyway, so get back to the stick. So here's the stick. It's quite long, okay? And the first thing you want to do is have a look at it and see, you know, how it's going to feel. Where you know, how you're going to use it. You know, I think what I want to do is I'm going to cut off the heavier end right here. So that means I need to measure down to get to what I need here. Now, I have my normal stick here, and I can use this. This is for me. If it's for somebody else, then what you want to do is you want to measure their nose. So right about here, that's where I want to do it. And so first thing I'm going to cut this right here, and then we're going to talk about the stick a little bit more about what's going on with these walking sticks, and of course how it's good to have one, you know, and why it's good to have one. Anyway, so get my saw here out, my boca, and get this stationary here, and then actually that's pretty good. I'm falling right above that spot where there's a hole in it. So I had the boca right there, I did no problem. Anyway, yeah, there's a hole in it right there, and I was able to measure out. Actually, it's really funny because inside you can see there's a bit of a rotted spot inside there. So we'll pay attention to that. But here's the rot right here in it, which is right here. So, and then here's the rest of the rotted spot right here. So yeah, we'll pay attention to that, but I'm not too worried about it, because what we're not going to do is we're not going to use it for anything crazy. This is going to be a walking stick. So anyway, I put my gloves on because it's a bit cold out here, and we're going to talk about my walking stick a little bit, the one that I've been using for years, and some things that I've done with it. Now, first of all, as you notice it, I've never treated it with anything. It's basically what I've done is I took all the bark off of it, and I did maybe a little bit of sanding to it. But then as I started hiking and stuff, I put different shields on it down here for some little hikes I did here in Switzerland and places like that. This is a Transatlantic Council CSP right here. And then you have other ones from the OA, and then Normandy hikes, and then Wood Badge. I'm a Bob White, or used to be a Bob White. And then some, of course, I serve on the crew. And then this is the international emblem right here. More Wood Badge, Order of the Arrow, the Centennial stuff, and some more. I've been to Candlestick several times, so there's some for there also. But I haven't used it a whole lot in a long time because I haven't been working with the Scouts so much in a while. Since my son earned his Eagle and has moved away, I've allowed other people to move in. But anyway, what I have done, you can't see it because I never really brought it, but I wrote on it, I carved it at Bob White here. So that was my totem in Wood Badge. And then my wood badge course, which is NE 193. That's right here. You can't see it. But something else I've also done is from the bottom to the top, I measured out and put a ruler in it. And I carved in every centimeter on the ruler, so that way I could measure something very quickly. I could use it to, if you catch a fish, you can lay the fish on it. You can measure how big the fish was or whatever, you know. So that's also carved into it right here. Now on the bottom right here, I've rounded off, but I really need to probably reinforce this right here. It's starting to split open. Like I said, I don't really use this thing anymore. It's primarily in a corner for decoration. Something just to remind me of some good times in scouting and some hikes I've been on. But that's why you're only seeing it now. Normally I would have a couple of hiking sticks, you know, for skiing and that kind of stuff that are you know, that you can pull out, that are collapsible. So anyway, so that's just right here. I'm gonna put this aside right here, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my knife out, and then I want to start working on peeling this thing. Now you got to be careful. You don't want to cut yourself, so you know, be very careful as you're peeling. And we may not do it all here today. The main thing is get it started. And of course, it's being wintertime right now. The peeling comes off pretty good. Luckily, it's not frozen. But problems that when it's really dry, that's when you have a problem peeling these things. This right here is actually peeling okay. And you come to the knots. Of course, you want to get these knots off of it also as much as possible. And as you're peeling, don't put your thumb on the blade like this right here, because you lose a lot of pressure, a lot of force. So what you want to do is you want to avoid doing that, you know. But as you come to these knots, that kind of stuff, what you might have to do is you might have to saw those off, or using your axe, which I can pull out a little later, I can pull some of those off also. So it's a matter of just getting all this off of it, getting down to the getting all the bark off of it, getting down to the meat of the of it, you know. And of course you can paint these and dye them. A lot of people put parachute cord on them, this kind of stuff. You can do that also. You can put leather on them for your hand holds and kind of like that. There's a lot of things you can do. Anyways, this is just a bit of this right here, you know. Nothing too crazy. Like I said, afterwards it's good to sand it down a little bit, get you some sandpaper. And what I also like to do, I like to let it dry out a bit too. So what I'll do is I'll do this right here, then I'll put it in the corner and let it just slowly dry out before I start carving this kind of stuff. Matter of fact, this one right here, I'm pretty sure, I think I left it out for a whole season. I cut several of them because I cut one for my daughter also and my son when they were little, and I cut another one for my ex and or from their mother. And so I let them dry out for, I think I let them season for a year before I started doing a whole lot more with them. But at least until the summer came. But this one's been all over Europe. I've hiked a lot in Germany with it, and in England, northern France, Kandersteg here in Switzerland. It's been to Spain. I used to keep it with me in my truck all the time, so I always had it, and that I was always able to use it, because, you know, I'm not as sure-footed as I used to be, I would say, and so it's good to have something, something to help me with my balance and stuff, especially on these icy roads here. These roads here, or these trails are very icy and very difficult sometimes. About a month ago, when I did the overnight camp out with a buddy of mine here, we'd gotten a lot of snow, 2 weeks of icy rain and snow and stuff, and oh man, the roads were so slippery. And thank goodness that we had, I had my walking sticks with me, hiking sticks, because we were sliding all over the place. It was really dangerous, really bad. So anyway, as you're using your knife, make sure that you're in control of it and that you don't slide. You know, what I'm doing here is I keep my arm down so that as I'm cutting, I'm not gonna cut myself if I was to slip or something like that. So it's very important, because last thing you want to do is, you know, come out, go hiking, nice day, do some work out here in the field. Next thing you know, you got to go to the hospital or you got to do some first aid. You know, that first aid kit's probably that one thing that you carry in your backpack of your 10 essentials that you never want to have to pull out and use. It's one of those single items that no matter, you know, when I get back and I go through all my kit and see what I've used, what I've not used. And that's that one thing I'm like thankful I haven't used. So anyway, this is going by pretty quick actually. We're getting this done pretty quickly. Like I said, it's gonna have to be set up. These knots are gonna have to be pulled out of it, you know. And then like I said, let it dry a bit and then sand it down. Because this is a green sapling, okay? I didn't cut it dry, and I cut it amongst a bunch of them. There's a bunch of these saplings that were there together, and so what I did is I just took one. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as you don't take too many of them or all of them. You know, that tree, it's going to continue growing. And this actually is actually beech actually, and I think it was the same as what I have there is a piece of beech, and those are pretty hard, piece of hard wood there, and they're pretty good. I mean, like I said, I've had this one right here for a long time, and it's done its job. Now it's become more of a piece of decoration, like a Christmas tree, I guess now. But you know, every once in a while I pull it out, and I put it. I don't really, you know, keep it in the house where somebody's going to see it. I keep it mostly in my office, or I put it in the corner so that it's always there. But sometimes when I have somebody over and we're in my office like that, they see it and they ask me about it, and of course then the stories come out, you know. But lots of good memories because of scouting, plus also spending time with my son while we were scouting together. My daughter also, I mean, she had to have one, which was so cute, and she used to use the heck out of it. But like I said, I made them to the height of their nose like I did, and there are lots of things you can use these things for. I mean, for crossing creeks, that kind of stuff. You cross through some water, give you some balance, or if you want to, you can take 3 of these and put them together for an overhead fire. Of course, they might get smoky, but they're not going to get burned up. And then you can also use them if you're building a shelter and you don't have access to a bunch of poles. A couple of you put these together, or even one, and that'll give you, you know, the entrance to your shelter, and it'll they come in handy for that. So there are lots of things you can do with these right here. You can use it if you get hurt and you've broken an ankle, or you twist your ankle, something like that. You can use it as a first aid device. As you see, it's not completely done, but it's pretty close. And yeah, it's got a good spot here for where I put my hand on it. So I'm not going to make this for myself to use. I'm going to just have an extra one, show you guys how to do it, how I do it. And this will be, I'll come back to this thing right here later on once it's dried out, and we'll get the Dremel out, or a carving knife or something like that, and then we'll you know, add the date. The date, of course, I'll go back to this video so I know what date I did this with. But anyway, as you see it, it's a nice bright piece of wood, and which is fine. I mean, but a lot of people, they do stain them or paint them, that kind of stuff, or put other markings on them, which are perfectly fine. So anyway, so it's it's done up this way here so far. It's so much heavier than my other one. It's like twice as heavy because it's so wet. It's still a wet piece of wood, but it's got a good balance to it. It's not too bad, you know. Yeah, pretty good balance to it. It's not too bad, and it's a good thickness. It's a good size, and yeah. Now a lot of people, they also do these. Now you take them, and if they're really curved, you know, twisted, they'll steam them, make them a little bit longer, steam them, and they'll put some bends in this kind of stuff. I'm not going to do that. I just like the way it looks naturally, and I actually don't mind the little pieces coming out. Just make those a little more rounder, maybe, so they don't catch on your clothes or something like that. But like I said, if someone's wanting to cross a creek, you can also hand them part of it and help them keep their balance to cross a creek, or like I said, for setting up your tarp or your tent or your shelter. And there's, you know, you put a bunch of these together, you can do a lot of stuff with it actually, but you just lash them together. But anyway, so I hope you found this a little bit interesting. And if you have, please, whether you have or not, please leave a comment. And if you have any questions, please leave them down below in the comment section. Please subscribe and give me a thumbs up and share my channel. I really appreciate it. And I hope you all have a great day. It's a weekend, it's Saturday, so you guys take care of yourselves. And I'll talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.